And our top focus this Saturday is on what's happening on the line of actual control. Crucial dialogue that will be happening shortly in a fresh attempt to resolve the month-long bitter border standoff in eastern Ladakh. Now, the high-level military dialogue will be held at Moldo on the Chinese side opposite Chushul. India today has accessed India's agenda for the meet. Sources say that India wants restoration of status quo as it was in April in Ladakh. Now, India also wants China to pull out armoured and artillery from forward positions close to LAC and withdrawal of Chinese troops from the Finger Four area. Yesterday, in fact, the two nations held diplomatic talks with an aim to resolve the standoff and agreed to handle the issue through peaceful dialogue. And ahead of the crucial India-China meet, as we're getting you all the latest on that front, let's listen in to what two former army chiefs have had to say about what's happening really with China. This is an exclusive conversation with Shivarur.
General Malik, to you first, sir. I'm going to come to the big picture as far as the imperative and the need for India and China to look at this as a situation where the border needs to be delineated in urgency, or else, skirmishes of this kind are going to continue indefinitely. But I want to ask you more immediately, sir, as a former Chief of Army Staff and a war general, might I add, what are you expecting, General Malik, from tomorrow's unprecedented Lieutenant General level talks between both sides in Chushul?
Shiv, although this is the first time that two lieutenant generals from either side will be meeting each other, I don't think at that rank people have met on the ground till now. But we have to remember that the army on the ground has got a very limited say as far as territory is concerned. And we have to stick to the territory that belongs to us. We have to talk about that. Army is not in a position to concede any territorial concession to the other side. So I do not know how much progress can be made. Anything to do with territorial progress will go back to either the diplomats or the political things. But they can have some harmony, they can exchange some good notes with each other, and that perhaps will also create conducive atmosphere for give and take if there is going to be any at the political level or at the diplomatic level.
General Malik, are you saying that nobody should expect any spectacular breakthrough? As civilians, as lay viewers, the way it has been portrayed is many levels of meetings have happened so far, and now you've got two wise lieutenant generals who are going to be holding this meeting. Is there going to be some big takeaway at the end of it, sir?
Look, both at Galwan as well as in the area of the Eight Fingers, the fact is that the Chinese have crossed the line of control in one case, in Galwan case, and in the other case they have come and occupied the area which is so-called disputed, because it is between the two perceptions of the line of actual control. So when they have come and occupied a particular position in strength, as far as the army is concerned, it cannot give away that area which has now been occupied. It has to ask for vacation of that area by the Chinese, and if they do not agree to that, there is nothing much that the army can do except to again throw the ball into the court, or throw the ball into the court of the diplomats and the politicians.
Okay, so clearing the decks for the diplomats and the politicians could be one way to look at what to expect from this. General Bikram Singh, is there any other end game that India is looking at as it heads into these talks, rather than a pre-May 2020 scenario? Basically returning to the pre-May 2020 status quo. Is that the aim of tomorrow's talks, sir, in your view?
Yeah, look, Shiv, firstly, thanks for having me over in your
Always
show.
A pleasure, sir.
The first question that you asked, I just want to clarify, build on what General Malik has said. He is very, clearly brought it out. But there are two facets to it. One is the border dispute which is being dealt with at the political level.
Yes.
And that, the NSA, that level meeting takes place every year. And then you also have, one mechanism which came up after Rajiv Gandhi's visit to China. And that is basically that for consultation and coordination. So there are mechanisms which are dealing with the border issue at that highest level, at the national level.
Yes.
We are getting down to the tactical level where this thing is going on. The very fact that, both countries have agreed to meet at Lieutenant General's level, I feel that there is perhaps a desire to resolve it at the tactical level. So therefore, while I fully agree with what General Malik said, it's a political issue. It has to be dealt with at the political level and diplomats will get involved. But in this, I think being slightly optimist, I would say there is a possibility that it will get resolved. But along with this, what is important is when China came in for these particular face-offs and intruded into our territory, there was a purpose for which it came. Has that purpose been served? That is what China is going to be looking at.
Yeah.
Because you see, let's be very clear. Upping the ante and ensuring a dialogue at the level of Lieutenant General, China has achieved what it wanted. But the point now is, with so many things on its plate, whether it is the international, sentiment that is going against China, the investigation into the pandemic, trade war with, and there is also growing, I would say, sentiments in China which are not conducive to the image of Xi Jinping. Now, so this particular, incident was actually engineered to assuage the sentiments of the domestic population and also to give a strategic message to India, and also indirectly to Pakistan, which is the strategic, a player, a strategic, one of their partners.
Absolutely.
So the point to say is, has China achieved what it wanted to achieve, or by doing this and prolonging this, procrastinating its resolution, is it going to be creating misery for itself when its plate is already full?
Yes.
So we have to see and wait and watch. But yes, I'm being an optimist. We should hope for the best tomorrow.
Abhishek Bhalla is joining us live with all the latest updates that's coming in from the line of actual control. Abhishek, we're standing by for that meeting. It's expected to begin any moment now. But there's also been an official statement that's been released by the army now. If you could give us more details on that.
Well, Akshita, that's a very brief and crisp statement that the army has come out with. And, it only says that the official dialogue between the two countries will continue at the military as well at the diplomatic level. So if one is to read into this, the only inference that I can draw is that this is not the last of the talks that we are hearing. There could be many more rounds of dialogue at the military as well as the diplomatic level, and the indication that one gets is that a breakthrough is still a far cry, and that's the big message that I can draw out of it. Having said that, India's agenda for today's meeting was very clear. India was hoping for some kind of a resolution, and to start with, India was saying that status quo needs to be restored as of April end. Now, what this means is that Chinese troops should back off. They should pull back their artillery as well as armored platforms that they had brought very close to the line of actual control, and India will also pull back from those places. Those places were in the Galwan region. There were at least 3 flashpoints, but the biggest concern for India was Pangong Tso, because that's where China had attempted to change status quo by camping at Finger 4 area of the lake, which traditionally has been under Indian control for many, many years.
Okay, so Abhishek, for the moment, thank you for joining us. We're closely tracking all the developments that come in on that meeting that's expected to begin shortly. Now, after having been surprised by the Chinese army both at the Galwan Nala and Pangong Tso in the first week of May, our armed forces have now taken credible deployment measures. In fact, it's all along the line of actual control and not just in Ladakh. Gaurav Sawant gets you all the details.
The Indian Army has moved 155mm howitzers, field guns and additional troops to strengthen the line of actual control after a face-off with Chinese troops at the Pangong Tso and Galwan Nala. Though the situation is understood to have eased at Galwan but remains the same at Pangong Tso, the army is clearly taking no chances. Troops have already been positioned along traditional flashpoints in Ladakh, including at Depsang and Chumar. Intelligence inputs had indicated the need for strengthening defences.
We must continue building our infrastructure on our own side of LAC to make life easy for our troops which are deployed along the LAC. Chinese have built their infrastructure. Capacity building takes time. Intentions can change overnight. And Chinese have shown their intentions quite clear.
The fact that the first face-off took place at Nakula in North Sikkim and was followed up by transgressions at multiple points in Ladakh point to a wider Chinese plot at the line of actual control. The Army and the Air Force quickly deployed additional forces at flashpoints and other important locations. In Chumar and Depsang in Ladakh, Barahoti in Uttarakhand, along multiple locations in North Sikkim and in Arunachal Pradesh.
जो अपने माउंटेन फॉर्मेशन है रिजर्व, जो हमारे इन्फेंट्री फॉर्मेशन है रिजर्व और जो हमारे आर्मर्ड फॉर्मेशंस हैं, उनमें से ऐसे दस्तों का और ट्रूप्स का गठन करें जो कि काफ़ी तेज़ी से इस इलाके में डिप्लॉय हो सकते हैं, जैसे कि मैकेनाइज्ड इन्फेंट्री, जैसे कि कुछ एयर डिफेंस के दस्ते, कुछ स्पेशल फोर्सेस के दस्ते, कुछ नेवी के दस्ते अगर ज़रूरत पड़ती है तो इन सबको हम उधर तुरंत मूव करें.
India has also deployed artillery, armor, infantry combat vehicles and additional battalions along the LAC to deal with any military adventurism. India's rapid mirror deployment has also sent out a signal about India's defense preparedness. Both Sukhoi 30 MKIs and Mirage 2000 fighter jets have been flying sorties along with heavy lift aircraft moving men and material ahead of talks between senior commanders of India and China at the Moldo border meeting point opposite Chushul in Ladakh. China wants to keep India confined to South Asia, but India's growing stature has the dragon rather uncomfortable. Its incursions, whether in Galwan Nala or Pangong Tso, are to put India on a back foot. But the army is now effectively deployed not just here but also at other flashpoints including Depsang, Chumar, Barahoti in Uttarakhand, North Sikkim and along the Arunachal border. India wants peace but with respect. With cameraman Kripal Singh in Delhi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
Explains for you the area along the Pangong Tso Lake where the current India-China standoff is taking place.
The Pangong Lake is 134 kilometers in length. At its widest, about 5 kilometers wide. And this is the north bank of the Pangong Lake, which is where the current transgression has taken place. This is the south bank of the Pangong Lake. So this is the south bank, and it is here that the current standoff is taking place. But what we've been able to do, and this is where things will get interesting, is actually go further to give you a real sense of what's happening. So on this side of the Pangong is the Indian deployment. This is finger 1, finger 2, finger 3. We have a post there. There's also a base, an Indian Army base. And from the last Indian Army base, this line is dotted. It's dotted because there is no road going from the base till finger 4. The Indian Army actually patrols it on foot. So you've got a road, a proper road coming up till finger 3, and then you've got the Indian Army having to patrol. The Chinese, on the other hand, this is their base. So they've got one military base at Sirijap 1, one military base at Sirijap 2, then they have a base further up. This is finger 8. Now, why this area is contentious is because ordinarily the Indian Army patrols up till finger 8. Now, either they can walk along this path or they can take the boats. You see some boats in the Pangong Lake, so they can patrol using the boats, but our patrol goes up till finger 8. However, what the Chinese did in 1999, when the Indian Army had evacuated forces from here because of the Kargil war, they built a road. At that time it was a Kacha road going up till finger 4. What they've done recently over the past few weeks is that they've been able to make it a hard top, a metallic road, which makes it easy for them to bring more troops, more equipment in, and even take it out. So this is finger 7, finger 6, finger 5, and then finger 4. So the Chinese are currently sitting till finger 4. India claims the line of actual control runs through finger 8. So this purple line that you see on the map is the line that India believes is the line of actual control. This other purple line is the line that China believes is the line of actual control. So this area in the middle is the disputed area, which is what the confrontation is currently all about, because we claim that the line runs up till here, the Chinese claim the line runs up till here, and as a reality they are currently sitting up till finger 4, which disallows Indian patrols from going further. So that's broadly the lay of the land.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.